Good health to you, sir.
I'm looking for Ginger, a stable boy from Neuhof.
Then why don't you look for him at the stud farm?
He was there, but now they say he's hiding amongst some charcoal burners.
And where did you hear that? Anyhow, there's no one of that description here. Try asking somewhere else.
Look, a terrible crime's been committed at Neuhof, and Sir Radzig wants the culprits found. And here you are making it harder for me.
You don't look like someone from the garrison to me. Go and try that on someone else.
But I really am.
Of course you are, and I'm the Queen of Sheba. Clear off and stop wasting my time.
And where will I find him then?
When you travel upstream, you're sure to run into more charcoal burners. But charcoal burners can be found everywhere there's trees and water, so...
Well then, I'll go and ask elsewhere.
Good luck. Farewell.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Jesus, you've led me a merry dance.
What do you want from me?
I want to ask you a couple of questions. Why did you run off like that? Where are your cronies? And why did you kill that bandit?
What?
Right, one thing at a time. Why did you run off in such a hurry?
Because I was afraid they'd come back and kill me.
Who?
Those bandits, of course.
To get revenge on you for killing their mate?
Killing? Me? I never killed anyone. God is my witness.
I'm looking for your friends. Where are they?
The charcoal burners? They're over at the...
To hell with the charcoal burners. Where are your bandit mates?
They're not my mates. They nearly killed me. I recognized one of them, so I thought they'd come back and...
Recognized? Who was it? Talk!
I don't know his name, only that he's from Ushitz, and he has a limp.
What can you tell me about him? How do you know him?
I saw him a few times in the tavern in Ushitz, playing dice and boozing.
And?
I know he lives in a house on the edge of the village, but that's all I know. I never talked to him.
Why did you kill that bandit?
What? Bandit? I never killed anyone.
This is yours, isn't it? I pulled it from the belly of a dead bandit near the stud farm.
That is mine, but I didn't stab him. That fellow took it from me.
What fellow?
I don't know his name, but he's from Ushitz, and he has a limp.
He limps and he's from Ushitz. That's not much to go on, but I suppose it'll have to do.
It's all I know. I never talked to him.
And now tell me exactly what happened. And don't leave anything out.
That's quite a long story.
Don't worry, I won't get bored.
All right. I woke up in the middle of the night because I needed to go for a piss. So I went out into the dark, same as usual, only there was something there that shouldn't have been. At first I thought it was just a trick of the light, but it wasn't. Then it was too late. They went past, and I thought they must be horse thieves. I would have yelled, only I was afraid they'd kill me. So I waited until they were out of sight, and I started to sneak away, but then...
Then the slaughtering started.
Yes. I thought they'd steal the horses and ride off. That would be bad enough, but then all the killing started and flames everywhere. It was terrible, like hell itself.
And then?
It seemed some of them didn't like it either. They started squabbling among themselves, and some of them started running back where they came from, right towards me. And I had that thing in my hand, the hoof pick.
So you stabbed the first one in the belly?
No. He ran right into me. He was running fast for a fellow with a limp. He pushed me aside and I fell on the ground. Then he told me I'd better lie low if I valued my life. And he ran off with the others. I did what he said and hid. Then the rest of the gang ran past.
And then?
Then I waited in case that limping one from Ujits came back. I didn't dare come out until I was sure. I think it was almost light.
Do you know what they argued about?
I didn't hear everything, but I reckon some of them were only there to steal and wanted no part in the killing.
What about the others? Was there anything you noticed about them?
I don't know. There might have been maybe 8 of them, and 2 of them were really big. That's all I can remember.
That sounds terrible. I know exactly how you feel.
If only I yelled. Maybe they...
If you had, you'd most likely be dead. It probably wouldn't have done any good anyway.
But still...
There was nothing you could do. That's all. I've heard everything I need to hear, so I'll leave you be.
Wait! What about me? Won't you help me out?
Perhaps I could. What would you like?
I'd like to go back to the stud farm, but those cutthroats who want to kill me are still around. Will you help me?
I suppose I could. Do you know where I can find them?
I don't, but they must be lurking about somewhere.
Well, I'll have a look. But if I find them, then...
I understand.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that all you've got?
You'll get what for.
Are you going to cry now?
Is that the best you can do? You'll get what for? What's the matter? Come on! You're dead. What's the matter? Come on! I'm gonna enjoy this.
I've got you, you dog. You'll soon be sorry for shooting. Gone weak at the knees, have you?
I'm gonna enjoy this. What's the matter? Come on! Is that all you've got?
I'll slaughter you! Come here, then. Why the fuck are we supposed to ring his name? Is that all you've got?
You call that combat? What's the matter? Come on! Come here, lily liver. Gone weak at the knees, have you? You'll get one more.
Why the fuck are we supposed to wring his neck? You're hesitating about killing someone. Like you're fucking smart. Stick it up your ass. There's not a thing in this bonus. You don't know why we kill you. What can he do? It's nothing. Look, they say he recognized someone, and that he can still point to you. Maybe, but so what? Soon enough, he'll just be able to point at a pile of rotten corpses. But what if it doesn't work out? Let's just find him, chop them tendons off, bash his brains out. We can't be too safe. I suppose. Let's just find him. Yes.
What's going on there? What was that noise? Greetings, my good man. May I ask you a question?
Ask first, then I'll ask you something.
Really? Good then. We're looking for Ginger, a stable boy at a nearby stud farm. Have you seen him anywhere?
I was just about to ask you two the same thing. I'm looking for him too.
Then it's a pity neither of us have found him yet.
Thank heavens I've found you, though. I imagine you two might be able to tell me something about Neuhof. Hmm?
I see. Well, we can give you a little demonstration of what happened there.
You'll get what for. Gone weak at the knees, have you? Ha, come here, lily liver. What's the matter? Come on!
I'll slaughter you!
Is that the best you can do? You call that combat? Ha, come here, lily liver.
Duh!
What's the matter? Come on! Is that the best you can do? Peace. Don't beat you. Had enough? Now. Peace. Take that. All right, now you're dead. Oh.
I bear good tidings.
Already?
They're out of the way. I ran into them on my travels.
Really? That's great, but
What?
I'm afraid to go back to the farm. I ran away, and God knows what they'll think about it all. I don't know if they'll even want to talk to me.
I could go and ask them if it's important to you.
Would you? You'll definitely have their respect, the way you took care of those cutthroats.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Greetings. What do you need?
My lord, I managed to find a clue to the whereabouts of the bandits.
Excellent. Bernard already told me what's been happening, but I'd like to hear it straight from the horse's mouth.
The whole story, or just the gist of it, sir?
It's up to you what you consider important.
One of the Neuhoff stable boys, a lad they called Ginger, fled from there and hid out with some charcoal burners. I have to say, there's a lot of them around. I never thought how many forges and ironworks they have to supply.
That's true, but keep to the point.
Oh, yes, sir. I had quite a job finding him. He was well hidden and with good reason. The bandits wanted to kill him because he recognised one of them.
Did he tell you what happened?
He said it wasn't one gang, but two. And one of them took fright when the slaughter started. Seems they were only interested in loot, so they quarrelled with the other lot. Then it came to a skirmish in the woods and one of them was killed. And the rest of them scattered.
And did you find out where they went?
All I know is one of them is from Ujits. I know enough about him to be able to track him down.
All right, but those cutthroats must know who he is too, right? And if they want to get revenge on him or silence him, you'd better hope they don't get to him before you. So drop everything and get on his trail. Find out what he knows and then report back to me. I'm going to our encampment at Merhayed to oversee the security of the region.
Yes, sir.
May the Lord watch over you.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
along, citizens. Move along. There's nothing to see here.
If that's what you call nothing to see, I'd like to know what something to see looks like.
By the keys of St. Peter, this is all I need. We'll have to send word to Sir Hanush.
That might not be necessary.
Who are you?
I'm Henry of Skalitz, in the service of Hanush's Captain Bernard. I'm investigating the attack at Neuhof, and I think this could be related.
Well, I'm the bailiff of Auschwitz. And I say we don't want any of that kind of trouble around here. What makes you think this has anything to do with Neuhof?
One of the folk at the stud farm recognized someone from Auschwitz among the bandits.
We have no bandits or murderers around here.
Really? They say he had a limp?
Shit. Well, allow me to introduce you to Limpy Lubosh. Or all that's left of him.
Sacre. Nothing's ever easy. I'll have to take a look around and ask a few more questions, if that's all right with you.
You can take this mess off my hands and welcome to it. As for what else there is to find out, I don't know. But look and ask all you like.
Who was Limpy Lubosh?
A poor crofter and a scoundrel. Can't say I'm too surprised what happened to him. He kept company with all sorts of vermin. He was always getting into some kind of trouble. Punch-ups in the tavern and what have you.
How come he limped?
He got that from some villainy or brawl a long time ago.
Has he been up to anything suspicious lately?
I don't know. The last few days he didn't go anywhere. He was home the whole time. But he always kept everyone in the village at arm's length.
Did he have any kith or kin in the village?
None. A loner he was. I don't know the last time I saw him with anyone.
Do you happen to know where he was on the night of the Neuhof raid?
I've no idea. He kept his distance from other folk, so you never knew if he was away or holed up at home.
When did you find the body? And did anyone see anything?
Just now, and nobody saw or heard anything. I don't know how they could gut him like that without someone hearing him scream.
Another thing about Lubosh. What's this? Looks like someone's hit him very hard on the head. Could they have bludgeoned him to death and then gutted him? That would explain why he didn't scream. Lord above, they did a hell of a job on him. Must have been agony. How come no one heard anything?
lock him in the hen coop so he'll have a proper appetite next time. That'll ruffle his feathers for him.
Maybe you should have done that a long time ago.
You're right there. Good morning.
I've come in the name of Sir Hanish of Lipa. I'm investigating the massacre in Neuhof, and now a murder here as well. Can I ask you a few questions?
I don't know how I can help you, but ask if you must.
Who was this Lubosh who was murdered?
You could see at first glance he was no good. I kept well out of his way.
Have you noticed anything suspicious recently?
There wasn't sight or sound of him for a long time, and then yesterday he turned up at the church and even talked to the parish priest. I never saw him do that before. Probably had a bad conscience.
Do you know what Lubosh was doing the day Neuhof was raided?
I don't think he was home. I didn't see him all day.
Do you know who Lubosh used to spend time with? Kin or friends?
As far as I know, he had nobody at all in this world.
That's all. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Good day to you. What do you need?
I've come in the name of Sir Hanish of Lipa. I'm investigating the massacre in Neuhof, and now a murder here as well. Can I ask you a few questions?
Sir Hanush gives a job like that to a young fellow like you? No, I care. Ask.
That man Lubosh who was murdered, what was he like?
He was a strange one. Always drinking, bad-tempered. Lord knows how he made a living. Well, maybe now I've got an idea or two.
Have you noticed anything suspicious recently?
I didn't see much of him lately, not even in the tavern. Not until yesterday in church, as it happens.
Do you know what Lubosh was doing the day Neuhof was raided?
I don't think he was home at all. Wait, are you saying he... Jesus.
Do you know anyone Lubosh used to spend time with? Relatives or friends?
I really don't know. As far as I know, he had no kin. I never saw him with anyone.
That's all. Thank you.
Take care now.
God be with you.
I've come in the name of Sir Hanish of Lipa. I'm investigating the massacre in Neuhof, and now a murder here as well. Can I ask you a few questions?
I don't know nothing about it, but ask all you want.
That man Lubosh who was murdered, what was he like?
I didn't really know him. He kept to himself, even in the tavern.
Have you noticed anything suspicious recently?
Come to think of it, he was in church yesterday. He was even talking to the priest and went to confession. I was wondering what he was up to take to the faith all of a sudden. But I suppose no sin's too dark for God's mercy.
Do you know what Lubosh was doing the day Neuhof was raided?
I was coming from the tavern very late that night, and I caught a glimpse of someone entering the village. He looked like he was in a hurry. It was only a shadow against the sky, but after what happened, I wouldn't wonder.
Do you know anyone Lubosh used to spend time with? Relatives or friends?
Not with anyone from the village. He used to sit in the tavern next to us sometimes, but he never said much.
That's all. Thank you.
God be with you.
That's stolen! What are you trying on me? Get the hell out of here! Farewell.
Let's talk about the price.
Sure, why not?
Here, with a little something on top for a good measure.
My word. Thank you kindly.
Mother of God. You look like you've been assaulted.
Is there somewhere I could sleep here?
I suppose I could find something. For how long?
How about if I pay you for several nights?
Sure, but groschen first. These are harsh times.
That's quite a lot. Can we discuss the price? Agree?
You're a right pinch purse. You've got it all to yourself. No one will disturb you.
Where do I go to sleep?
You'll have no trouble finding it. Right inside the door to the building, there's a ladder up to the loft. Your bed's ready there, and a trunk for your belongings.
God bless.
Ugh. No, clear off. Let me sleep.
Jesus Christ be praised.
Is there anything suspicious going on in these parts?
Indeed there is. Just last night, Father Godwin was here, calling fire and brimstone down on old Gertrude, the herb woman. He's not one to make a fuss over some trifle either. Oh, and another thing. Around here, you should hear about what Vashek the groom has been up to at the stables. When the head groom told the lads here, they fell off their seats laughing.
Is there anything suspicious going on in these parts?
Nothing out of the ordinary, praise God.
Is there anything suspicious going on in these parts?
Nothing out of the ordinary, praise God.
I'd like to discuss the price.
Well, we can try it. I'm finished. This is going nowhere.
Let's talk about the price.
Why not?
What about this?
Well, a little more and we'll call it a deal. No deal then.
I see you know how to wield a sword, Father. I wouldn't have expected that from a man of the cloth.
With a stick. I practice with a stick. It's a reminder of my youth and days gone by, and it helps keep me in good form.
The blessings of our good Lord be with you, Father. I'm here in the name of Sir Hanush of Lipa, investigating the massacre at Neuhof, which seems to be connected to a murder here. Can I ask you a few questions?
It seems Sir Hanush is employing children as investigators. But ask as you wish, boy. I hope this nasty business will be cleared up quickly.
Did you know Lubosh? What was he like?
Bit of a lost soul. Simple, rough fellow, but at heart I don't think he was such a bad person.
Did you know Lubosh? What was he like?
Bit of a lost soul. Simple, rough fellow, but at heart I don't think he was such a bad person.
Did you notice anything suspicious recently?
My child, all sorts of suspicious things have been going on recently. People like Lubosh don't know what to do about it, and sometimes they do stupid things.
That's really not a lot of help to me, Father.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Do you know what Lubosh was doing on the day Neuhof was raided?
Unfortunately, I do know. And I'd like to help you with your investigation, but I can't.
What?
I'm bound by certain vows that forbid me to tell you.
Vows more important than catching dangerous murderers?
There are laws of God above the laws of man, son, and one of those is the sanctity of the confessional.
Father, surely you can't be serious. There must be situations in which you can make an exception.
There are things that apply always, no matter what the circumstances, and this is one of them.
For heaven's sake, Father, can you really look me in the eye and tell me that, when you know you may be condemning innocent people to death?
I can, because if I broke that vow, the consequences would be much worse than if I didn't. Maybe not immediately, but one day. The mills of God grind slowly.
Father, Lubosch was my only lead to the Neuhof raiders. Only he could tell me who was responsible for that massacre. If I don't find out who it was, it will probably happen again. Surely you wouldn't want that.
I wouldn't. But I can't betray the sanctity of the confessional. I'll tell you what. Give me some time and I'll try to think up some way of helping you. Suppose we talk it over in the evening, in the tavern, over a cup of good wine. Maybe we'll come up with something.
All right. Thank you, Father.
Take care now.
Good health to you.
I'd like to learn to read.
You? You don't look like the makings of a priest or clerk. But why not? I've taught all sorts. Bear in mind, it won't be all that easy. You'll need plenty of time and a few groschen for my trouble.
All right. I don't want to waste time. We can get started. The sooner I master it, the better.
Very well. I will require some groschen from you, though, and set aside at least a couple of days so I can put you through your paces, if indeed time is of the essence.
Here are your groschen.
Then we may as well start. No. He did break his vow, but better than to dishonor it here. May he follow his heart. Wake up, lad. It's time we were getting on. So, let's see you read a bit. There's a book here on the table. Try to read it.
Will I manage?
You ought to be able to. It's a simple text. Come back once you've worked your way through it.
I've read the book.
Wonderful. So tell me, what have you learned?
There was something about some fellow and a goose.
Ah, well, the main thing is you've managed to read the book. The rest is just practice. Only through a careful reading will you uncover the real meaning of the text. No book is written on a mere whim and without purpose. Like I told you, books are valuable, and the words that you place in them ought to be no less so.
Does that mean that I can read then?
Yes, you have the foundation. Remember, my boy, the pen is mightier than the sword. To fully learn your way around words will take a lot more reading yet. Now we'll move on to the second lesson, which will be much harder. Many books are written in Latin, the language of erudite and religious men. If you really want to be able to read, there's no getting away from Latin. There's a book on the table with some text. Read it and then come back. You need not understand it, but you should master the letters.
I only just managed the fable about the goose, and now you're asking me to tackle Latin.
You're a clever lad. You'll manage.
I read the page.
So tell me, Distripule, what's written there?
Nullus est liber tam malus. Non alique parte prosit.
Good heavens! Don't tell me you haven't had lessons before. Excellent. Well, there's nothing more I can teach you. Congratulations. You can go and be ordained right away.
Thank you, Domine. I'm feeling a lot wiser.
Good day to you. What do you need?
I've come in the name of Sir Hanish of Lipa. I'm investigating the massacre in Neuhof, and now a murder here as well. Can I ask you a few questions?
Ask all you want, lad.
Who was this Lubosh who was murdered?
Those that live by the sword die by the sword. I'm not surprised the end he came to.
Have you noticed anything suspicious recently?
Everything about him was suspicious. I always gave him a wide berth.
Do you know what Lubosh was doing the day Neuhof was raided?
How would I know?
Do you know who Lubosh used to spend time with? Kin or friends?
I don't know, since I don't go to alehouses.
That's all. Thank you.
Take care.
Father, didn't I see you outside practicing swordplay? I wouldn't have expected that from a man of the cloth.
With a stick. I practiced with a stick. A reminder of my youth and days gone by, and it helps keep me in good form.
Have you thought of a way to help me solve that murder?
Let's leave it for the evening. Come to the tavern after sunset and we'll talk it over.
Do you have any work that needs doing?
My dear lad, I have more worries than I can bear. Another pair of shoulders would ease my burden. I have to deal with a local witch.
A witch?
The herb woman, old Gertrude. That devious hag who will stoop to anything. Like all herbalists, for that matter.
Oh, don't tell me. The cows are giving blood instead of milk, and babies are being born with 2 heads and a tail.
This is no laughing matter. Gertrude isn't evil. She just has peculiar ideas about what's good for people. A little bird told me she incited some Ujet's women to witchery.
A little bird told you, did it?
You know how good people are at seeing the splinter in another's eye and not the beam in their own.
In other words, someone's been gossiping. And what's the problem?
As long as herb women stick to giving psychic to folk and bloated cows, assisting in childbirth, or burning incense in bedrooms to help with sleep, then nothing at all. But this is sacrilege, and it's unsafe. All sorts of molds and lichens and poisonous plants and other foul things go into those concoctions. I'd hate to see her poison some poor gullible lass.
What do you want me to do?
I want you to go and see her and find out what she's been up to. I know she lives in fear of the Holy Church, so tell her I sent you. That will make her talk and think twice about encouraging witchcraft. If you learn that she truly did involve folk in some foolishness, find out all you can and deal with it.
Consider it done.
Good. And never fear. I'm a man who always pays his debts. You'll find Gertrude, the old herb woman, in the woods. Good luck to you.
You gonna cry now? Ha!
Ow!
I've come in the name of Sir Hannah.
Ask all you want, lad.
That's all.
God bless.
Yeah. Yeah.
God be with you. What can I do for you?
Would you teach me something about medicinal herbs?
Certainly.
I'd like to practice the basics.
All right, but it'll cost you. Now, pay close attention.
I've come in the name of Sir Hanish of Lipa. I'm investigating the massacre in Neuhof, and now a murder here as well. Can I ask you a few questions?
Ask all you want, lad.
That's all. Thank you.
I've come from the priest. They're saying you incited some women to witchcraft.
Me? Witchcraft? That's nothing but idle chatter.
Don't you know that witches get burned alive?
There's no need for trouble. I'll tell you everything. I've done a very foolish thing. It's preying on my mind so much I can't sleep a wink.
But I'm supposed to believe an old witch has pangs of conscience.
Laugh if you like, but it's not a word of a lie. You probably know I sell various magic lotions and potions alongside my herbs. Well, there's one I wish I hadn't sold. You see, Vera, Zlata, and Kuta from Uzhitz wanted a magic ointment from me. I kept refusing them, but in the end, I let them talk me into it.
What kind of ointment was it?
One that will show you a world no one else can see, a place of wonder and terror. The flowers might start talking to you, or the earth could swallow you up. I don't know if it's the work of the devil or of God himself, but the ointment has that power. But it could poison any person who doesn't know how to use it right.
So all this talk of witches anointing themselves and then flying to their sabbaths on broomsticks...
The ointment could make a person see such things. But it was stupid of me letting those foolish women get their hands on it. They could poison themselves or fall off a cliff while they're lost in a dream.
Will you give me the ointment recipe?
It contains belladonna and the herb Paris, both quite poisonous plants. That ought to make you think twice about dabbling with it.
So why did you give them the ointment at all?
Because I'm soft-hearted. You see, one of those women, Vera, lost her whole family in Skalitz. And Zlata's husband was killed. And the youngest of them, Kuta, miscarried with the horror of it all. They said they wanted to use the ointment to speak with the dead and ask them to put a word in with the Lord.
Yeah, I understand how they feel. But I reckon it'll get them nowhere but the ducking stool and the stake.
Judge not, lest ye be judged. I didn't want to give them the ointment, but they offered me a pile of groschen. So I thought how desperate they must be, and I heard their plea.
Their plea, or the clink of their coin? And why are you so worried about them all of a sudden? What changed your mind?
I'm losing sleep over it. Firstly, those women don't know what they're doing. And secondly, folk might see it as witchcraft. And do you know what they do to witches?
They burn them alive.
That they do. So don't be surprised I'm worried.
It didn't bother you before, though. What did they want the ointment for?
Each one of them lost a loved one recently, and it's grieving them. They wanted to talk with the dead.
What kind of ointment was it?
One that will show you a world no one else can see. I don't know if it's the work...
So all this talk of witches...
The ointment could make...
I want to know something else. I've heard enough.
If you've heard enough, you must understand why I need your help. Find out from those women what they intend, and watch over them to keep them safe.
Very well. But only because the priest himself asked me to.
Thank you 1,000-fold. I'll go to the Reverend myself and explain. You take care of those women. Good luck, then. What happened to you?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
answer me.
Hey! Hey!
What's going on out there? Jesus Christ! Your clothes! Were you assaulted? Damn bandits! May they burn in hell!
I've come in the name of Sir Hanish of Lipa. I'm investigating the massacre in Neuhof, and now a murder here as well. Can I ask you a few questions?
I don't know how I can help you, but ask if you must.
That's all. Thank you.
Goodbye.
What's going on there?
I've heard something about a magical ointment.
Really? I'd like to know where from. And what concern is it of yours, anyway?
The herb woman sent me.
Gertrude? What does she want? More money?
It's not about the money. She's concerned about your health. That ointment can be dangerous, and she wants me to make sure you don't do anything foolish.
It can't have got any more dangerous since she sold it to us. Tell her we're ever so grateful for her concern, and goodbye.
I've heard something about a magical ointment.
Really? I'd like to know where from.
The priest is worried.
The priest? It's nice to find out what telltales you have for neighbours. But believe me, it's none of your business. Or the priest's.
That's enough. What I've heard already amounts to a burning offence.
Oh, it's threats now, is it? I've never heard of anyone being put to the stake because of some ointment. If it's fire you want, go back to your damn forge and stop bothering me.
I've heard something about a magical ointment.
Really? I'd like to know where...
The herb woman sent me.
Gertrude? What does she want?
She'd like to know just what you're planning to do with it. She's worried about you.
What made her change her tune? You can tell her we plan to do exactly what we agreed, and not to worry.
I've heard something about a magical ointment.
Really?
The priest is worried.
The priest?
It could be dangerous. Not just for your soul. That shit is poisonous.
So I'm supposed to believe the herb woman slipped us poison instead of the ointment?
She warned you it was dangerous, and now she regrets selling it to you. She's afraid you'll hurt yourselves.
It can't have got any more dangerous since she sold it to us.
What's going on there? What's that?
What? Show you. What's that?
That sounded like...
Jesus!
I heard something about a magic ointment that you got from the herb woman.
You heard that where? And what business is it of yours?
The herb woman sent me.
Gertrude? What does she want? Haven't we paid her enough?
That's not the point. The ointment's dangerous, and the herb woman doesn't want you getting up to anything foolish.
We know all that, and it's not stopping us. So, thanks for asking and goodbye.
I've heard something about a magical ointment.
What? Who told you that? Was someone asking around?
Gertrude sent me.
And what did she say? Does she want to add something to the ointment?
No. She's worried about what you'll do with it. It's quite dangerous stuff. What I've heard already amounts to a burning offence.
Burning? Burning at the stake, you mean?
Yes, burning you alive. If you're planning anything that looks like witchcraft.
To hell with it. Let them burn us if they will. God has forsaken us. Everyone's dying. We've lost everything. Lucifer is our last hope. Do you want to turn us in?
I'm not here to judge you. I know what it's like to lose loved ones. I just want to make sure you don't do anything foolish.
Foolish? You think what's going on around here is foolery? We won't just stand idly by, and nobody can stop us.
What's that? Who's...
What's the matter with you?
What's that?
I'm sorry I can't tell you everything. But maybe we can work something out. But first I'd like to hear something about you, my son. With whom do I have the honor? Where are you from?
I'm from Skalitz.
Oh, I'm sorry. What about your kin?
They're dead.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Here, we'll drink to them. It must have been terrible.
It was terrible. It seemed so pointless. We had no warning. They just appeared and began the slaughter. God knows why. They killed anyone who didn't make it to the shelter of the castle. My parents, my girl, even the Deutsch who was on Sigismund's side. I didn't make it to the castle. I wanted to try and help my parents, but there was nothing I could do. Then I fled to Talmberg with the Cumans on my heels. They almost killed me. They slaughtered people in the surrounding villages. There was a pile of bodies in front of the church in Rovna. Folk who tried to take refuge there, but they...
My poor child.
All of them.
May God grant them eternal rest. And how did you come to get this assignment? I'd have expected Sir Hanish to send that old grouch, Bernard.
He did, but I found a witness and the trail led here to Ujit, so he sent me here to follow it up.
Ah, well, congratulations. It's nice to see someone using their head to find things out instead of torture. We'll have to drink to that. Now the most important thing. What actually happened at Noyo? The good folks hereabout are saying all kinds of terrible things, but I take most of it with a pinch of salt.
The rumours aren't exaggerated this time, unfortunately. The Neuhof stud farm was raided by bandits, but they didn't come to pillage or even take the horses. They only wanted to kill. They maimed the horses and slaughtered some people. I'm sure they would have killed more, but the bandits quarrelled among themselves and broke off the attack. And judging by what's left of our Lubosh, they're still settling accounts.
I see it's every bit as bad as people claimed. Dreadful. Well then, here's to those poor souls who had to die so pointlessly and so terribly.
I've told you all about me. Now it's your turn, Father. You don't look much like our parish priest at home. I noticed you're pretty handy with a sword. I wouldn't expect that of a man of the cloth.
You know what they say. The Lord moves in mysterious ways.
But this is a bit more mysterious than others.
Let's just say I haven't always been a priest. Fate led me to places where affairs were settled by force. These days, of course, it's just a bit of exercise to keep me in shape.
Well, we've had an agreeable chat, but now let's get down to business. So, about this confessional seal. Do you really want more innocent people to die?
Henry, that's not how it works. There are matters in which you can't make exceptions because if you do it once, you'll forever be tempted to do it again. If people stop believing in the church because their confessional secrets are betrayed, they won't trust anyone, and that's worse than even the most hideous crime.
I understand, but that means I've reached a dead end. Those cutthroats will strike again, and I can't stop them.
Chin up, lad. I might have a solution.
What?
If I tell you what Lubosh told me, I'd be betraying the confessional secret. But, first thing tomorrow, I'll try something I think might help you.
Word of honor?
On my soul.
I always wondered about the things a priest tells his congregation. Where on earth do you get the ideas for your sermons?
Well, Ujits isn't Prague. It's not enough to instruct people. They have to be entertained, too. If I only read from the Bible, I'd soon be preaching to an empty church.
Our priest wasn't exactly a bard. So what do you preach to your flock about?
It has to be something topical. Condemning vices. And, of course, describing them in detail. A tongue-lashing about the two popes goes down well these days. And stories from real life, with a nice moral to them, are popular as well. Especially if they're about fornication and similar scandalous vices.
Can you give me an example?
Well, recently a priest by the name of Jan Hus started preaching in Prague, in the Czech language, and the people liked it. I hear he always has a full house. A journeyman who heard him told me what Hus is preaching, and I like the sound of it. I'm thinking about putting it in my own repertoire.
What's so amazing about it?
The preaching of Master Jan Hus about Mother Church. The lamentable wealth in which the Church is drowning has turned to poison, and nearly the whole of Christendom is contaminated. Just like a flock of hungry ravens, they settled on this land to devour every grain of gold and silver. They know no mercy. Their hearts are corrupted by longing for wealth, and they shamelessly profit from everything. You want to baptize a child? Pay. You want to steal and murder? Pay and you will have absolution. What if the devil himself were to pay? Would he ascend to heaven too? With such money gained from the poor, they buy beautiful horses to ride and needless servants to pamper them. They gamble at dice and dress their whores in expensive furs, while Jesus Christ walked barefoot and had no place to lay his head. Look to your consciences, you robbers of the poor, for you are seen by God and his people too. Amen.
Well, this Jan Hus character is quite a rebel.
Oh, the congregation will love it.
I don't doubt it.
Let's drink to that.
Funny. That last bit reminds me of someone.
What do you mean? My situation is completely different. Huth preaches against the prelates and the clerics who are robbing the poor. Look at me. I don't have a pot to piss in. I'm no better off than the folk I preach to. I'm one with them in poverty and suffering and everything that troubles them. I drink with them and curse those stuffed habits in Sasau Monastery.
Don't you think it's a bit odd when someone boozes and lives in sin with a woman and then criticises the Pope for debauchery?
No, I don't.
What do you think of this Jan Hus?
He's certainly a wise man. A little overzealous for my taste. If he got out of Prague and came here for a look, I'm sure he'd stop condemning drinking and lying with women.
Where can I find out more about his teachings?
You like it? I copied down some of his sermons. If you're interested, you can read them at my presbytery.
What do the common folk think of it?
They like it. They're happy to hear someone say what they think themselves, but are afraid to say aloud. Things that make them angry. And they're calling for change. In a few years, it'll have grown beyond control. You mark my words, the people will rise up, and the church will be shaken to its very foundations.
Yeah, unless they burn him at the stake first.
Nonsense. They can't burn a master of the most respected university in Europe.
Thanks for the sermon, but I think I've been morally uplifted enough. Oh, it's getting quite late. What are your plans, Father?
What do you suppose? We have a drink, of course.
Ah, that sounds like a good plan.
I knew you wouldn't let me down.
Przyszła bida mora lat, to nie ustoi żadnej chlap. Na kraj padł dziesnej smutek, glodnielo i rano utek, niech ich może zimaj sad, do wczera żylne staje brak. Už se jí bojí svatý muži, nechtěl bych bejbě jich muži. Nám je to jedno a tak si dáme jedno a požerem si huby jako poslední jen. Budeme se bávit, ano ráda slávit a tak vypal sudy a posaď se mi sem. Tak posaď se sem a vypal je ven. Ukaž kozy jako vozy, zítra jen tu jsou nejdem, tak nalej mi hned, ať točí se svět.
Enough of this! Bailiff! Come on over here, sit down and have a drink with us.
Don't vex me again, Father. It's 3 hours past dusk, and curfew is long gone.
So what?
So, I'll have you all whipped and put in the stocks, and I'll write a letter to the bishop about you, priest.
Well, nothing to worry about then. Everyone knows the only one around here who can write is me.
Enough! Men, throw them out. Oh.
You looking for a fight? Henry, back me up.
Come on then, Peasant.
Go with
I'm going to enjoy this.
So, my dear, would you like to have a little ring on the bell? No sooner said than done.
I'd love to. And Henry, too, I'm sure. Right, Henry?
Stop that nonsense, Godwin. Are you out of your mind? What will people say?
They can say what they like. What do I care? What do they do to me? Watch the step, my dears. Careful, you don't hurt yourself. Here we are. Look at this beauty.
Oh. We can't do this, can we?
Who says? Get ringing, wench.
This is wonderful.
Ah, bloody oath. And now, my dears, comes the climax of the evening.
Godwin, you old goat.
Come here. Oh.
The priest has mounted up. What do you say, Henry? Shall we take a little ride of our own?
Well, I have to say that was a fine evening.
Godwin, you beast! Get up! Do you hear me? Wake up, you drunkards!
Oh, fucking hell. Where the... Oh, what the... Oh, who the hell are you? Oh, Henry. My great friend, Henry. Didn't we have a wonderful time?
Well, you certainly did, you old lecher. Now you better pull yourself together quick. You haven't much time. There's some water and something to eat on the table there, but if I were you, I would move my hairy arse before my flock eats me alive.
Oh, step on in my head. My guts. Oh, my poor suffering stomach. Oh, what was that woman on about? Before my flock eats me alive. I've forgotten something. What have I forgotten?
Where the fuck am I?
What the fuck was it? Oh. Mass! Oh, shit, I have to say mass. I gotta say mass. You have to help me.
How? You're the priest.
I can't do it in this state. Maybe the liturgy. But I have to give a sermon as well. Oh, this is a disaster. They're gonna excommunicate me.
I'd like to help you, but...
You can. You can do the sermon for me.
What? So, first I investigate a murder no one wants investigated. Then I drunkenly keep the whole town up all night. And now you want me to preach at them from the pulpit? Do you want them to burn us at the stake?
No. No, I've got it. Suppose that Sir Ratzig's protege. You just came from studying in Prague. And you want to share the words of Master Jan Hus, who you recently heard preaching there. Henry, look. From what I remember, we might have overdone it a bit last night. And if the bailiff or someone else complains about me, the bishop's gonna have my guts for garters. So I'd appreciate it. Stop gaping at me like a stuffed squirrel and start helping.
You're mad. You're stark raving mad.
I'm not. It's a perfect plan. It's flawless. Oh. How about this? If you help me with this, I'll tell you who Lubosh's cronies are.
So all at once the confessional seal isn't so sacred?
Don't mock me. I won't give you a second chance.
We'll never get away with it.
Not if you make a hash of it.
Well, all right. But I can't make any promises about what'll happen.
No, neither can I.
What do you want me to do, exactly?
I'll go and start the liturgy. Then I'll introduce you. You give the sermon I told you yesterday in the tavern, and that's that. No need to drag it out. If it turns out well, I'll tell you what I know about Lubosh.
Christ almighty. Fine then. We have a deal.
Wonderful. Let's get to it then.
Never show up. The split pole.
Look at him. He can hardly walk after his capers last night.
You were with them, you beast. Just you wait. Look at him. Mother of God. Any minute now he'll throw up.
Besides, I couldn't sleep a wink last night with all that clamor.
In nomine Patris, et Filii, et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Accepit panem in sanctas at venerabiles a manus suas. Hac facite in meam commemorationem. Brothers and sisters, you may have had the honor of meeting Henry from Skalitz, who is here at the behest of Sir Hanush to investigate that heinous crime at Neuhof. You might not know that Henry recently visited Prague, where, by the grace of God, was able to hear Master Jan Hus from the esteemed Charles University preaching. I've managed to persuade Henry to stand here today in my stead and tell us what he heard. Because, as you all probably know, Jan Hus is a very popular preacher in Prague. So, Henry, you may begin.
Now I'm curious which one of them will puke first.
Brothers and sisters, let me get straight to the point. I'd like to talk about the church and how corrupt it is. Boy has a cheek. Creation has given to every man the power by which he might rule the whole world. But that power does not give him the right to rule. That right belongs to God alone. It is the corruption of God's pastors here on earth that has brought misfortune on our heads. Plague, cumens, hunger, and chaos. The accursed wealth that the church is drowning in is poisoning almost the whole of Christendom. When dogs are fighting over a bone, take the bone and they will stop. Just like the flock of ravens that has descended on this land to peck up every speck of gold and silver. They show no mercy. Their hearts are poisoned by covetousness. They trade everything. Everything is for sale. You want to baptize a child? Pay. You want to steal and murder? Pay, and you will have absolution. And the prelates sin and give themselves absolution.
For shame. Shame upon them.
It is the custom of the gluttonous prelates and monks to preach against sin. But what do they know of us ordinary folk? Let us remember the marriage at Cana, where our Lord Jesus Christ himself feasted with the other guests and drank his fill. And when the wine was gone, he performed a miracle and created more. He, whose companions were poor travellers, simple folk, prostitutes and troublemakers, performed a miracle so the feast could continue.
Now that's the kind of sermon I like to hear.
No, brothers and sisters. Jesus did not condemn alcohol. Drink to lighten the cross you bear in this vale of tears, but not with such abandon that you cannot keep holy the Sabbath. For there should be moderation in all things, and it is not drinking itself that is sinful, but intemperance and beastly indulgence.
He's right.
Enough about sin, which the prelates are so fond of preaching about, and whose absolution they promise if you only pay enough coin to Mother Church. What if the devil himself were to pay? Will the bishops tell us he too would ascend to heaven? And what about those bishops? They sin without remorse, and with the money grasped from the poor for indulgences, they keep fine horses and hordes of servants to pamper them. They played dice and garbed their mistresses in expensive furs, while Christ, the Lamb of God, walked barefoot and had nowhere to lay his head. Look to your consciences, you robbers of the poor, for you are seen by God and his people too.
Down with the prelates! Away with them!
We're fortunate to have our good Father Godwin. At least he's a fair and simple man.
God sees what is happening on earth, and he is filled with righteous wrath that those who should seek the salvation of souls instead seek mammon and the idle comfort of lucrative posts. Blessed are the shepherds who share the poverty of their flock, who are as one with you and bear with you the burden of this earthly pilgrimage, who do not condemn your venial sins.
Oi! All honour to Godwin! Let him drink like one of us!
That is all I heard in Prague. Amen.
The lad spoke well, considering what a soak he is.
He's right, Dallows.
The young man shouldn't drink so much, but the Lord's given him a
I'm
silver
glad he
tongue.
came here. I don't suppose I'll ever get to Prague, and he told it nicely.
Well, well, my boy, you have talent, and I can't deny it. And you pulled a thorn from my side. I almost didn't make it.
Yeah, I noticed. I wasn't the only one.
Oh, what's to be done? I'll make it up somehow.
So, about our bargain.
Although it's a sin.
So gluttony. And fornication.
God does forgive a penitent.
So, what did Limpy Lubosh tell you? Was he at Neuhof that day? Who was with him? And where are they now?
Now, slow down. I'm sorry, but he didn't tell me that much.
Don't let me down after all I've been through. For you...
Well, now Lubosh came to me shortly after it happened. His conscience was gnawing at him. And I must say, in the end, he turned out to be a better man than he looked. He said they'd been hired through some crony of theirs. And at first they were just to steal some horses. But then it all turned sour and people started getting killed. And neither he nor his cronies wanted anything to do with that. So they fell out from the gang and fled.
Fell out? Yeah, there was a body found in the woods by Neuhof.
That would explain something. Lubosh kept jabbering that he wasn't a murderer, that he didn't want to do it.
So I know that Lubosh killed the murderer and he's dead too. The trouble is, I need to find the ones who are still alive. I need names and places. Did he mention any of the others?
Only nicknames. Talked about some fella called Riki from Ledechko, Pius, Timmy.
Pius. That lot are about as pious as I am ordained.
Nonsense. You would make an excellent priest. And anyhow, with your skills, you ought to be able to sniff out this Riki from Ledechko, right?
Well, we'll have to now. There's not much else to go on. Let's hope he's not hanging from the wall too.
Indeed. And I'd hate to be excommunicated for nothing. Anyhow, good luck. You watch out for yourself. These people clearly mean business. And I'd like to raise a tankard with you again sometime.
Yeah, I'll try. Although I'm not sure I'd survive another night of your debauchery.
And if anyone should ask, you heard nothing from me. I'll deny everything.
I don't doubt it.
Looking mighty smug. Not his usual grouchy self at all. What's he so pleased about all of a sudden?
Haven't you heard? He's courting some wench on the side.
What, Vashek? He must be pulling my pizzle. There isn't a woman round here would look twice at that horny old goat. Oh, except in that vixen of his.
No, she's not from around here. She don't live in the village. Maybe up at the mill or with the charcoal burners.
Christ, no good will come of that. Bringing strange women into the village from God knows where.
My very words. The neighbors are missing 2 hens already.
Could have been a weasel.
Or that weasel.
What the?